Sometimes doing a gun review is like going down into the salt mines for a 12-hour shift. That would be called a negative review, for your reference. When the gun didn't do so great, and I have to tell the world. I never relish that. I hate that process. Not fun. What a lot of manufacturers, maybe most, do not understand about me is that I am always rooting for them. Just because I review something negatively doesn't mean I want them to go out of business. I just want them to serve their customers and improve the product. Imagine that. And yet in that I get a lot of hate, a lot of non-support from all types of quarters, a lot of flack, and rarely will you ever see a Nutnfancy gun review posted on any manufacturer's website because they know I'm not a homer. They know I will not always give a positive review. Look at it as a badge of honor, like I do. It is a badge of honor. I'm not saying other gun tubers are that way. I'm just saying for me. For instance, are you ever going to go to Diamondback Firearms and see a Nutnfancy video on their page? Well, maybe this one. I doubt it though. They pretty much hate me. Why? Because I speak truth. I'm rooting for them. I want them to succeed. But for us to do that, we have to clean out the infection. Otherwise, the patient will die, says the doctor. If we go, the emperor has clothes and he doesn't, he's walking around stark naked, what have we achieved? Nothing. So when I reviewed negatively the DB380 in like 2009, last year I think the DB9 compact, which basically fell apart and broke, I'm just going to bring the table, the data, and I want DB to fix it. But for that, sometimes, you know, guys don't like it. The manufacturers don't like it. This, however, will break that cycle because we are talking about a pretty excellent gun. I can't believe those words just left my mouth from Diamondback. I'm really stoked to do this review. It's hilarious. The Diamondback FS9. Cue whip sound. I'm having a good time. This is DB9FS FDE. This is this one right here. You can see it. Loaned from the Great American Gun Store, Gunnies in Orem, Utah. Thank you very much. Let me tell you this. This gun was hard to get. I didn't want to buy it. You know, with ad revenue being in the toilet, and it'll get worse. It has been getting worse. I wanted to loan one. Going back all the way in 2009 when I reviewed the DB380, back then I was a little bit more naive. I contacted Diamondback. I said, hey, I'd really like to review your full-size 9. And initially they said, yeah, and guess what? They never shipped it when they saw the negative review come out on the DB380. Bridge burned. Happens. Happens with a truthful reviewing process. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's just the way it works. And I soldier on. Thanks for your support, by the way. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, share this video everywhere. Give me 1 million views on it. That stokes me, allows me to do more gun reviews. And then, by the way, you might want to go buy 1 or 2 of these. The TMP hat is in stock. Nutnfancy Big Cartel embroidered patch. It took me 9 months to get this cap right in a redesign process that was painful. Whew, it sure turned out well, and it was worth it. 2-tone gray subplex nylon morale patch holder on the side, also for sunglasses and pins at the range. TMP logo in the back, sewed on patch because it is a cultural statement for the Nutnfancy project. This, of course, is the very popular Just Another Civilian Dumbass patch, designed by Tactical Doodle and Last Suspect, my sons. And then we have also, I don't have it on table, but the TMP rocket propelled shark. It still makes me laugh. Both these make me laugh. They're just freaking hilarious. The boys have such a great sense of humor. I love it. So anyways, that's there. Some of these patches are there, not that one, but I think these 2 are in. So support that. Also go to TMP Patreon. I am producing singular exclusive content for those select TMPers who will support me in Patreon. Pretty cheap for good information and hopefully good entertainment from me. So, and if you don't support me, go support your favorite YouTubers, man. Seriously. Because if not, this is all going to dry up and wither away. Oh yeah, gun review. Enough said all that stuff. I did give negative publicity to Diamondback. I'm sorry. Well, actually, no, I'm not. Because the gun sucked. I mean, like the DB9, for instance, I was shooting it, and the trigger pins walked out. It was ammo finicky. The front of the slide, the end of the slide snapped off. Oh, well, not on mine, on another one. There are a lot of failures, and I think mine finally just locked up and wouldn't shoot anymore. Maybe they've improved it. I really don't know. It sure is a cool gun. And some of the most accurate handguns I've ever shot in a project, guess what? They're from Diamondback. I know, go figure. Weird, huh? And some of the coolest ones in form factor are, guess what? From Diamondback. They're tiny. Hey, that looks like a Glock. It does. And, you know, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Let's get it out of the way, though. Yeah, it does look like a Glock. Here comes a G19 from a previous review. Wish I had a 34 on the table. I don't think I have one up here. Because to me, it does look like a 34. It's a 4.75-inch barrel on this DB DB9 full size. Looks Glockish. You know, guys always want me to defend, you know, the copying process. Hey, this manufacturer's copying that. You know, I'll mention it. You know, Ruger does it all the time. But watch manufacturers do it all the time. They're always copying. They may look exactly like this watch, that watch. Knife guys do it. Guns do too. Not my business to say, hey man, this is a Glock. Whatever. Yeah, it looks Glocky, and they copy a lot of things from Glock. I'll let the internet decide as a whole and rage on in flame wars about that. I don't give a crap. You know, all I'm looking at is a product, and, you know, to me that it looks Glocky is awesome. And let me say about looks immediately. When this gun came out, I immediately wanted to review it on looks alone. This is probably one of the best looking, get this, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I am, pistols on the market. The Diamondback DB9 full size, or FS9 if you want to call it that, is so excellent and looks. It looks like a freaking RoboCop gun. I can't believe on looks alone it's not more popular. Hopefully this video will change that. It looks sick. Look how low that bore axis is, dudes. I mean, it sits low in hand, it has a small slide. It's just a cool looking gun. It's seriously one of my all-time favorite looking pistols so far. It reminds me of the, I'll probably get the name wrong, so I'm not even going to say it, but there's other pistols that look like that. Strike One? Something like that? Yeah, it's not imported anymore. I shouldn't have said it. I probably screwed the name up. But it looks good. Which one looks better? G19 or the, you know, the FS9? This one does. To me. To me. It looks awesome. Let me hit POU super quick. What would you use this gun for, Nutnfancy?
Start off with just steel.
Standard philosophies of use. Well, with an asterisk. Yeah. We're going to talk about how it shoots. There is some things there I've got to cover with you. But when I say standard, I'm talking home defense. Yeah, concealed carry vehicle. By the way, this is amazing, too. I can't believe I'm saying this either. Sniper's pistol. That's because this sucker only weighs 25 ounces. So it gets the same weight as a Glock. And keep in mind the length. Remember, it's a 4.75-inch barrel. So it's basically, you know, a long slide 9, and it weighs the same as a Glock 19. Give credit where credit is due. It's a lightweight pistol design, and for me to give a sniper's pistol designation, it's got to be feather freaking light. It does. Yeah, that's all I'll say about POU now, because to answer the back half of that, we got to talk about how it shoots. Features. I love the pick rail on the FS9. I'll just call it the FS9, but it's a DB9 full size, whatever the freak they call it. I think you get it. I love the pick rail on it. It's a full pick rail, as opposed to just a single cross slot like we see on that 19. Well, here's a Beretta APX. It also has a full pick rail. The downside to this would be maybe grading some holsters or creating a fictional rub in a holster. I didn't really have a holster where I was doing presentations on it. But I do like it because it just gives me a wide variety of mounting accessories there. I think the dust cover is in the rail is pretty stiff. This is an issue. That's why Glock came out with the Gen 4s, because they're getting torsional problems with it, at least in service pistols. So you stiffen that up so it wasn't causing the gun to malfunction. I did shoot this with a light. I didn't have any problems doing it. but I like the pick rail. This whole section is freaking cool. Very Glock-like, except for this. It's even more narrow than a Glock. A Glock is 1.18 inches and a 9mm chambering. This is 1 inch wide. And I think we're talking slide here. Maybe a little bit wider in the controls. So, pretty narrow. Yes, it looks like a Glock. We already covered that. Yes, it does. And to me, that's good. Forward slide serrations, if that's important to you, they're blocky, providing great grip. You have a cutout in the chamber to see when it's loaded. External extractor. And what do you know? The takedown is exactly the same as a Glock. Speaking of which, when I took it apart, and I'll give you a photo of this just for time, it looks like it has a 3rd gen recoil spring. So it's not a double captive like you'll see in the Gen 4 and Gen 5s. So I've never had a problem with Gen 3 recoil springs, but just so you know, it's kind of, speaking of Glock, there you go. Yeah, how about the trigger on the FS9? Well, it pulls at 7 pounds, but it feels like it's lighter. It really does. So it's a pretty stiff trigger. And the reset is not like amazing. I mean, here's your reset right there. So it's kind of forward and kind of indistinct. Let's pull the Glock just so we can just, you know, since it's copying the Glock, what the heck. This is a stock G19 trigger. So really loud. You can feel it, you can hear it. Such a great reset on the Glocks. They've always been that way. So I'm going to say, oops, wrong mag. I'm going to say that the reset is not great. You know, I'm not going to lie, it's not awesome. But also the trigger is not like so bad that I would do anything to it. Can you believe I'm saying that? Well, here's another thing I like about it. It's made of metal. It's not an articulating trigger. Yes, it has a safety paddle in it, but it goes all the way down, so it's completely recessed when you pull it. I don't mind the trigger. You know, I thought when I was shooting it, it was not an hindrance to anything. You know, I love it. I love the square trigger guard right here, the undercut portion here, so you can get a nice high grip with it. They also copied this. I mean, the trigger guard is still small and a little bit crowded, just like it is on this gen of Glock. Is a Gen 4. Look, it's almost identical. There's 500 comments right there about how they're copying Glocks. I know YouTubers so well. The magazine release is cool. I think it is reversible for you lefties. Your slide release is not ambi, not reversible, of course, but I do like it that it protrudes well. You know, it almost kind of, the slide release is what I'm talking about. It kind of reminds me of a G34-35 slide release because it's kind of protruding, unlike a stock slide release. This is actually a G34 I put on there. So that's not stock on the G19. That is something I will change all the time. There's some other pistols I'll show you. Here's an APX slide release just by way of representation. That one's pretty good. Here comes an FN509. I really like that one. See, that one's kind of dished out. Here's a set of ambidextrous controls. This is a competitive option, by the way. It's going to be more expensive, but FN, I think, is going to be higher quality product, to be honest. There you go. Magazine release, so we talked about that's not reversible, and it is metal. I didn't have a problem with it at all. I wouldn't do anything to it. I don't know if you could, but I wouldn't do anything to it. The magazine is pretty excellent. 15+1 if I'm not mistaken. Who's making this for him? It looks like a Mekgar. It is made in Italy. Oh, it's ACT Mag. That's who it is. Plastic base plate, and it looks cool. It's going to give you more grasping surface. So look in the magazine well, if you care. Right here is what I'm talking about, this grasping area. So it's kind of a longer presentation right here, but I have large hands and I liked it. The grip is not so great on the FS9. It's just kind of there. It really needs something like a synthetic suede. It has some palm swells right here. I really like the presentation here. I really like how they didn't do interchangeable back straps. I think that's a bunch of nonsense mostly. I have no problem with the back strap, and the grip feels good. Again, in hand, ergonomically, the FS9 feels like it is really low. I don't know if that's just me, how I'm holding the pistol, but it feels like a reversed slide rail pistol, kind of like a CZ, like a PO9, PO7. That's what it feels like to me. It sits really low in hand. That is mostly a good thing. cocking indicator back here when you have a round in there, that's a positive. Also, it is tactile. How about the sights? Well, they're metal if you care, if you like that, and they're very glocky. There's that theme again. Yeah, I did notice, by the way, I like the sights. There's nothing really to write home about, but you don't have to replace them. I did notice it's a little bit wiggly in the lockup right here. Just a little bit. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of magazines, they're kind of a bear to load. They are. I mean, loading the magazines on the Diamondback was an exercise in getting infuriated. Yeah. Melanite coated internals, right, on the Diamondback. I guess I will break it open super quick and show you. Because guys are going to say, well, you know, there's the Gen 3 style spring I'm talking about. But I did want to show you this. So the slide rails are different than Glock. So they're not 4 inset, tiny, hardened steel rails. They're not. You can see the trigger here. Very glocky, of course. Quick look inside. But you can see, of course, because it is, you know, basically copying the Glock, that the takedown is awesome. Standard setting, right? How did it shoot then? That's features. I think I covered everything that's important. I think it shot pretty good, actually, with one exception. And now, going back to that philosophy of use discussion, go to war pistol. Would I trust a FS9? The caveat is it had problems with steel all around. So you shoot steel 9mm, it choked. It didn't like it. And I've brought other pistols to the table. When that happens, I'm going to give them some heat. I'm going to do the same thing here with the FS9. I consider steel ammunition for whatever gun to be emergency ammunition. Maybe that's all you have. A gun should be able to digest it. Okay, and the FS9 did not with reliability. Enough said. However, when we went to brass, it was, as I remember, if it changes, I'll put an inset, annotate it, it was 100%. Get that, 100%. And now the manufacturer says don't shoot plus P ammo. I tried some anyhow and it worked fine. You know, but hollow points, brass. Full metal jacket, brass. Worked great. You're seeing the footage. I enjoyed shooting it. I really did. So go to war pistol. That's going to have to take time with me personally. I can't do that in this review. I cannot say, hey, go out and buy an FS9. It's as good as a Glock. It ain't as good as a Glock. Go out and buy an FS9. It's as good as an an FN509. Yeah, from what I know, subject to change, it's not. But let's fast forward. If I end up buying this gun, which I am actually thinking about doing and running a lot more rounds through it, maybe 2 years hence, I come to the table and I go, hey, that FS9, it's pretty good. You know, no pins have backed out. And by the way, they didn't on this gun. So I didn't notice any pins walking. Didn't notice any parts flying off, any breakages, which have plagued us with other Diamondback firearms, the DB9 Compact and the DB380. Shooting it was awesome. Again, low bore axis, quick follow-up shots. I like the trigger. Let's look at the accuracy. DB9. This is 8 yards in the desert, I think. I said intermittent accuracy, 100% reliability. So that's a great group. That one's not so great. That one's a great group. Not so great, not so great. Great group. Pretty good group. What does that mean, Nutnfancy? Well, it just means that it's not magical for me. Some guns are magical for me where, dude, the P10C was that way. I mean, I'd shoot a P10C and it's like a laser. I mean, I can hit like 3 rounds in the same hole at 10 yards. That thing was magical. Other guns like that are the PPQ, the Canic TP9 series are that way for me. I'm talking about here, I love how I make notes because it helps me in the tabletop. Trigger guard rub, just like the Glocks. Rub them trigger. Okay, trigger. Errant accuracy, it's not me. I like the gun. I love those notes. It's good. I didn't write the yardage down. It's probably like 10 yards or something. That's good. So, I enjoyed shooting it. I think it's a fun gun. Would I buy it? Told you it's going to be a positive review, and here comes my answer, is yeah, I'd buy a FS9. Without hesitation. What? How can you say that about Diamondback. Oh my gosh. Nutnfancy, all the other guns were crap. How can you say that? Because I shot this one 500 rounds and it worked great. That's why. Steel notwithstanding. I talked about that. Yeah, I don't like that it didn't work with steel. It bothers me. But look at the price of this gun. I mean, it is... do they have a price on here? Yeah, they do. So look at this. Gunnies is selling this for $299 for a full-size 15-round magazine that looks that awesome. It's basically a Glock copy. What? Yeah, I'd buy it. Dude, that's great. I mean, it'd just be fun putting something else in your collection and helping me determine whether this gun is gonna last. I need TMPers buying this gun and say, hey, you know, 5 years, I'd like nothing, no, not 5, but 1, 2 years from now, I would like nothing more doing an update on the FS9 and rolling your data in with mine and going, guess what? This gun is pretty good. And my original review stands. I told you I'm always in the corner of the manufacturers, even Diamondback.
Okay.
I want them to do good. I want them to come out with great designs. I like the FS9. I really do. And get this. I can't believe I'm saying this either. For the price, I freaking love it. I'll put up with its quirks. No, what can I say bad about it? Doesn't shoot steel. Trigger's not amazing. It's okay.
You know what?
And, oh, I forgot to add this. Accessory market is limited. Holsters. There is an Apex trigger kit out there, so you can put money in that. There are some Ameriglow sights out there. That's awesome. Magazines are $32 a piece. I don't think that's outlandish. I think the FS9 should definitely be on your list. I mean, you get on sale for like $275, even $299. Totally. Buy it from Gunnies, a great American gun store, by the way. They support this reviewing process. You should support them. If you're local, go in and buy one. Turn around and sell it if you don't like it. Hey, I will never be able to sell it. Maybe. I don't know. But, dude, for the low amount of money, I mean, here's what you could do, too. You could get the FS9 for super cheap, put it in a certain philosophy of use, maybe a truck gun. You didn't pay hardly anything for it, and test the heck out of it with your preferred load. Maybe you're shooting, I don't know, 124 grain. A jacketed hollow point load of some sort. Go out and pump 4 boxes through it. If it doesn't break and it works great, run it. Run it. That's what I do. Options. Well, there's tons. We live in a great time for pistols. The Ruger American, which I don't like. Of course, the Canic TP9's awesome. How about the Ruger SR9? No one ever talks about that gun anymore. I actually like that gun. The EAA SAR B6P for $285. It's 16 plus 1. 4.5 inch barrel. It's a CZ75 clone. No, I'll never review it. It's butt ugly. But it's a competitor. $285. Right around the same ballpark. The EAA SAR B6P. I would never buy that gun. How about the Grand Power? Told you this review would be funny. Grand Power K12. I would buy that gun. The Grand Powers are awesome. I reviewed the P1. They're awesome. For the money, which would you rather have, the FS9 or the Grand Powers? Probably the Grand Powers, but they're going to be heavier. If weight's a consideration, I'd probably do an FS9. Just keeping it within that realm. Walther PPX is 1.3 inches wide?
Really good.
Dude, 1.3 inches wide is butt ugly. 4-inch barrel. No, I'm not. You can have it. Hey, where do I have that gun? I have a Steyr M9A1 floating around here somewhere. That is an awesome pistol. The Steyr M9. I'll roll in some footage. Yeah, get that gun. Would you prefer it over the FS9? Oh, yeah. Totally. The Steyr is amazing. And it did function with steel all day long. Finally, the Remington RP9. No. That's garbage. I'll never review it. It'd be yet another reason to hate TMP from Remington. That's garbage. And that's another gun. When the RP9 came out, I was like, oh, the RP9, it came out with a freaking 9mm. And I looked at it, I was like, that's crap. Crap. There you go. Hey, Diamondback, good job. I mean, it's good. Yeah, you springboarded off the Glock design. It would be kind of cool if you came up with something original. But honestly, that's hard to do. An original design using original engineering, and it works 100%. That's very, very difficult. And from what I gather, it's pretty expensive. But for 275 bucks, I'd buy an FS9, dude. Totally. Run it with my load and be happy. Good job. I like the gun.
There you go. Cool.
Classic man. Swiss watch.
Like it.
For cheap. All right, FS. Let's go. I like this gun actually. Ooh, quick pair. I'll just go right here, bro.
Okay.
Come over, maybe some right here.
Okay, got it.
Ready?
Yep, go. %on that, Brian.
You know what? With brass, we just had that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
It's a nice gun, and for the price, you can't beat that. What were you saying it costs?
There's some really good guns for cheap. I mean, like the TP9. I think what I'm going to tell them on tabletop is I really like the gun. I say buy it because it's so freaking cheap, but you probably want to put like 400 rounds through it before you put it in service. Watch your pins, make sure your pins don't back out. Run about 2 boxes of JHP through it. So each of us gain a personal trust level with this gun before, like this isn't a Glock. Like a Glock, I wouldn't do that.
Right.
I can pull a Glock out of box, put it in service without even shooting it at all, and I don't feel bad at all. Same with a SIG, same with a Springfield. This one you're gonna have to put some rounds through. But it's a really wonderful design. It should be. It's a takeoff on Glock.
Boy, it feels really nice in the hand, doesn't it?
That's what she said. So it's going to probably be a provisional recommend on the Diamondback DB9FS. I like it. So I'm just going to long-term test it. So stay tuned. Stay subbed, right, Mike?
Sounds good.